Here we are. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to let everybody from the waiting room just give them a second to come into the call. Uh, let's see who else might be coming. Excuse me. Got a few more joining. Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for waiting. Welcome to Bulldog Parent University. For anyone that's new, this is just a webinar series that's hosted by the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement. So we've been doing these calls for a few years now, and it's just to help parents to feel connected to campus and learn about various resources we have on campus for your students. So tonight we have some really great guests. Tonight's topic is called What's on Your Mind? So it'll be about mental health services on campus. And first, let me introduce myself. My name is Shalisa Bynum. So I'm the Director of International Student Engagement and Support within the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement. Our office has a lot of different touch points with many different student groups, first gen students, transfer students, obviously the international students. All the registered student organizations are under our office, Greek life. So we just see pretty much all students in some shape or form. And we also host these webinars for parents. But like I said, tonight is about mental health. We have Ms. Tanisha Smith from the Office of Accessibility and Accommodations, and we also have Ms. Baker from the Office of Counseling and Mental Health Services. So they are going to take the floor in just a few minutes, but I also just wanted to let y'all know that we have a pretty new YouTube channel, and I'll be putting that link in the chat. So if ever we're doing a BPU webinar and you can't make it that Monday night, you can always just go back to our YouTube channel and watch the recording. You can also click the notification bell and subscribe so you get a notification whenever I post the video. So you can look forward to that and new things and shorter videos and more little nuggets of information coming in through there as we move forward. So we can go ahead and shift gears, I think. First up tonight is Miss Tanisha Smith. I'm going to let her introduce herself and her office and what she does, and she'll get into her presentation, and we'll take Q&A at the end. So go ahead, Miss Smith.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bynum. This is a pleasure being here with some of my favorite colleagues, Ms. Christine Baker. We get to work closely together. And then Ms. Bynum, she always makes sure that we are on a platform together to kind of be able to hit the different services that we offer. So how many of you all, and of course, this is an interactive university. So you can either answer in the chat if you're unable to come off of mute. But how many parents are even aware that when your student graduates high school, that the services that they received under special education does not stop after walking across the stage? Many families are unaware that a student that may have been on an individualized education plan, which is known as an IEP, or a 504 plan, which is the plan that is designated from K-12 for students with any type of physical disability, where their instructors are informed of, hey, this student may have to leave the class frequently because they have to go to the restroom. And those that were on an IEP, things such as being in an environment where there's distraction-free testing, where they have additional time to complete their assignments and tests, that is all filtered through our office. So what the Office of Accommodations and Accessibility, who are we and what do we do? We make sure students are afforded equitable education. We know that in order for any university to be successful, there has to be a level of access to just different things to make sure that each student is successful. We know that even as adults, each of us, we may learn differently. So sometimes students may need additional support, or they just may learn in a different format. So the office that I work through, we, the students advocate, we inform all of their professors of the accommodations that are needed. Accommodations fall up under the American Disabilities Act. So it's not a suggestion. Once a student is afforded accommodations, it is mandatory for us to be able to provide those things. Now, I will tell you, each university is different, and it depends on the funding and resources. Now, what is a reasonable accommodation? If you read the literature and just the law from ADA, you will see the word reasonable is always it's always in front of the word accommodations. So, for example, a reasonable accommodation would be if Miss Baker and Miss Bynum were able to go in to their classroom during testing time, and they're able to begin their test and complete it within the 50 minutes that's allotted. Okay. I may be a student that has a learning disability. I may be a student that has a psychological disorder that kind of prevents me from being able to go in, read the material, and I'm able to test within that 50 minutes time. So my accommodation may be that the professor would have to provide me with extended time. It doesn't mean that I get more time to review the information as opposed to the other students, but there has to be a place designated, which we have a university testing center, which is accredited by ACT, GRE, a lot of the professional exams that individuals have to take for professional school. We are a host site. So that means that it's in compliance where the student, they receive a proctor, and it's monitored while they're testing. It's equipped with video equipment to be able to alert the proctor so that we can maintain the integrity of the test. So students can't just go there with an accommodation and be able to scroll on their phone, or to have another window open where they can get the information from for the test to be able to be dishonest. It's a place where they go just to receive the distraction-free environment where they're able to do their very best. We also are in charge of housing accommodations. So we understand that many students, if there is a physical disability, and accommodations now are more broad and more socially accepting, that the mental health component that Ms. Baker will get into in a moment, students that may have a psychological disorder, they fall up under the umbrella of American Disabilities Act. So with the proper documentation, the student would have to complete the application, submit their medical documentation, and then that information is passed over to the housing department for single rooms, or if there was a student with mobility issues where the first floor will be the most conducive space for that student, we secure those spaces within our residential halls that we manage, or off-campus apartments that fall up under the umbrella of the university. Another growing trend across the United States, we understand that many families are pet owners. And many of our students, they have never lived in a home where they didn't have a pet. And their families recognize that, hey, this is not just a pet for them. This animal serves as an emotional support. The student's going away from home. They may need that additional support while they're away from the family. So as long as the animal doesn't damage our property, doesn't attack any of our other students, it has to be a calm, mild-mannered breed of animal, then that student could also be afforded the opportunity to bring their emotional support animal to campus. Now, what that means, the difference between an emotional support animal, when you hear me reference emotional support animal, you'll hear me say ESA, versus a service animal. The ESAs are only to be housed within the student's residence hall. They cannot take their Yorkie to class. They cannot take their German Shepherd to the cafeteria. It can only be in their room. And of course, the quarters outdoors where the animal goes to relieve themselves. Now, the service animal is an animal that has been trained to perform a task based on whatever the disability is. For example, everyone is aware of individuals that may be blind, that may use a service animal to guide them, or someone that may be a person in a wheelchair. They may have a service animal to help them when they go grocery shopping, to kind of decrease their anxiety of being in public spaces. So those animals can accompany the student anywhere. They are considered an extension of the person. So that's just a FYI. Students that are approved for emotional support animals, they could have their privileges revoked if they are found out of compliance and found to have the animal outside of those living quarters. So from the academic component versus the housing component, we manage those things. Now, when I say reasonable, going back to that word reasonable. So let's just say we have 100 spaces for students with a single room, and we have 200 applicants. Will all 200 be accommodated? Well, you have to ask yourself, does the university reasonably have 200 spaces to house the student? So it would then come on a first come, first serve. For the housing accommodations, I'm going to post a link to the website so that you can have all this information to share with your student so that they can get a jump start, because the application will begin receiving applications for the fall in April. So if they have all of their information turned in, the information is reviewed, and if they are approved, that information goes straight to the residential life and housing staff, and they are placed based on availability. So that's kind of how that works. The goal is to never turn a student away, but of course, as I mentioned, if we can only reasonably accommodate a certain number of single spaces, then once we've exceeded that number, then it's more of, well, let's go to the next level of availability that will be conducive for the students' well-being. All right. So that's pretty much my spiel in a nutshell. Um, Ms. Bonham, we're going to have Q&A afterwards, right? After both speakers, or do you want me to? Oh, I didn't know how you
We
want
can
to
do it
proceed.
now if you're done with your presentation. We can have some
Okay.
parents be putting questions in the chat, and I can go through those. We'll get your
Okay.
questions answered.
All right. I'm going to be placing the website
Okay.
in the chat as well.
So I'm going to give you guys a minute or so. If you have questions for Ms. Smith, go ahead and pop those in the chat, and we'll be glad to get those answered for you. So someone is asking, do you have a set location for students with emotional support animals? This would help students who are allergic to animals.
Miss Haywood, very good question. So to answer that question, currently I have the privilege to work for two different federal mandates. And what I mean by that, American Disabilities Act, that's a federal law. And I also serve the student population for all Title IX. So the reason there is not a designated space is because if there was a space for all of the emotional support animals, although this may seem kind of asinine to say, it would somewhat serve as discrimination to put all of your students with a disability in one space, so they could be easily identified. Oh yeah, all the kids that have ESAs, they live over in Terry Hall. So we don't. Now, what does happen, Ms. Haywood, let's just say you have a student that has severe allergies, and they are, because one of the once you visit the website, one of the requirements in order to be approved for an emotional support animal, all of the roommates have to agree to that animal. So if you know that your child has allergies, then they would not be in a room where there is a cat, a dog, which are the two primary most requested emotional support animals. So currently, no, we do not have a designated place for the ESAs.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right. Ms. Junius, it is not. So her question is, and you're welcome, Ms. Haywood. Ms. Junius's question is it up to the student to advocate for accommodations in the classroom, extended time, audiobooks? Absolutely not. No. Now, I will say the difference between K through 12 during their their elementary and secondary education, there is a collaborative teacher that follows them. So they are the ones that hold the IEP meetings. They are the advocate. The student rarely ever has to advocate. At the university level, we don't do all the advocacy for the student. If the student sits in a classroom after they've been approved for an accommodation and says nothing to our office that a professor is being non-compliant, then that student, whatever the grade that they have, that's the grade that they make. Because you have to remember, there may be multiple students within one class that has accommodations. So on the letters that are not mailed out, they're emailed to the professors. I put a caveat on the end of that letter addressing the student by name and requesting that they have a meeting with their professors at the very first week of school. So that way they can introduce themselves. It's better to have a face with a name and they can say, hey, this is some of the things that I require in regards to my accommodations. Now, our office, yes, we do serve as the advocate once it's been identified that the students, they've had a meeting with their professors and the professor just flat out refuses to give them the things that they need. Then our office steps in and we serve as the advocate. But we do promote a high level of self advocacy at the post secondary level. That was a very good question.
Yes, it was. Thank y'all so much. Are there any other questions for Ms. Smith before we move forward? And for those of you that are just trickling in, I'm going to actually post, like I was saying before, we also have the recordings of each meeting on our YouTube channel. So I just put the link in the chat. So if you missed the first few minutes, that's okay. You can just go back maybe by tomorrow or a couple days from now, and I'll have the recording posted for you on the YouTube channel.
And
Uh,
one
yeah,
last
go ahead.
thing, and that flyer will my assistant was working on it today. She hasn't quite finished it up, but for those that have students that may fall up under the umbrella of the services that my office provides, our office is relocated. They kind of relocated us before they made the announcement. So many of the students are accustomed to coming to, it's been very convenient because we were right in the same building with the health clinic. And the health clinic, they do a phenomenal job of even walking our students over. I mean, there's never a student that comes through the health clinic doors that's turned away. I just had one this morning that came in. They do a great job. If we're unavailable, they'll take the message to make sure that the student knows. But we have moved on campus in the Rafley Student Center at the lower side level of what used to be the Judicial Affairs Office. So I did want to make you all aware, but an official flyer will be sent out to the student population into the families. So Ms. Gray, I'll answer your question. Is medical documentation proper? Absolutely. It is. And when very good question. One of the things I do, please, parents, while you're on this call, go ahead and bookmark that site that I sent you for accommodations, just so you will have it. One of the things that is heartbreaking to always share is when students come in and they provide, okay, Ms. Baker and I can speak to this. Ms. Baker is a licensed professional counselor. If Ms. Baker was to write a letter for any student, there's really no need for me to validate that because I trust her professional opinion, because it's coming from a clinical place. There have been colleagues of ours, some LPC as well, that monopolize on the population of individuals with disability. And what I mean by that, you can go right now and Google how to obtain an ESA letter. Students that provide those letters will not be approved for emotional support animals on campus. Parents will say, well, The fair housing access. Okay, but guess what? We are not a standalone apartment complex. Apartment complex can do whatever they want to do because they're privately owned in most places. We are responsible not just for your student, but we're responsible for an entire population. Like Ms. Haywood said, we wouldn't put an ESA in there with people that have allergies. So the due diligence is not just on the student that's requesting the ESA. We have to maintain the integrity of all of our students. So if the student goes and they only have that one session, they pay their $200, they receive a letter, just know that they just donated $200 to that provider. If it doesn't, there is clear cut requirements. The person has to have a history with that provider, meaning that they have a regimen of treatment because the ESA is like a prescription where it's an addition to therapy. So that's an awesome question, Miss Gray. Thank you for, and Miss Junius, all of you all, thank you for your questions. And I will be on the call while Miss Baker presents if y'all think of anything else. And thank you, Miss Bynum, for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for a good presentation.
Yeah,
Very
very good.
informative. Excuse me. While we're letting Miss Baker just get settled and get ready for her turn, just want to remind y'all that the next Bulldog Parent University meeting will be a month from now. I believe it's March the 23rd, so exactly 30 days. Also, will be at 6 o'clock. Please be watching the parent portal. I also tried emailing everyone through the parent portal, so I'll do that again. I think that helps y'all remember when the call is and makes it easier to register. So we'll see y'all in a month for that. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Baker from Health and Counseling. And yep, you have the floor now. I'm sorry. Yeah, Miss Baker, sorry. I'm getting everyone's names confused.
So, good evening, parents. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for this episode of Parent University, which I think is just absolutely amazing platform to help inform our parents. I'm Christine Baker. I'm the Assistant Director of Health and Counseling here at the university. As Ms. Smith did mention, I'm also a licensed professional counselor. I started out as a counselor here and then was promoted to a newly created position as assistant director to really focus on a lot of our mental health needs. Our clinic is a very unique clinic in that we are what's called an integrated. We have an integrated health model. So we are not just counseling. I'm not just speaking for counseling. I'm speaking for the medical side of the university as well. So we handle medical. We provide services, medical, mental health, and we will be adding dental in the fall, upcoming fall, amongst other things we'll possibly be adding in the near future. Um, I want to speak to you all about our process. We have upgraded a lot of technology to help meet our students where they are and where they're most comfortable. Our students, your children are prone to their phones. Everything that is done is typically done on their phones. So in the past, we haven't had a what I would say a student-friendly electronic medical record system, and now we do. So on both the health and the counseling side, students now have access to a student health portal. I have added a flyer in the chat that will allow students to it has two QR codes, but it'll allow students to access their student health portal as well as our website. Currently, our website is under construction. We are adding a lot of different elements to our website. We will be adding how-to videos. We will be adding all of our events, updating our calendar. But right now, so you'll see that it's in under construction. But one thing you will be able to do is access the student health portal. Through the student health portal, students can book their appointments in private. They can web book for counseling and for medical. They can also upload all of their compliance, their medical compliance documentation, so immunization records, their physical, their TB test and read. They can upload all of that to the Student Health Center. They can, if they come to if they receive a service at the health center and they want to provide critical feedback, we have surveys that are available on that health center, on their student health portal, that they can do in the privacy of their own rooms, to let us know how we are doing. I'm going to speak to the services on the medical side, then I'll speak to the services on the mental health side. On the medical side, we provide a comprehensive medical treatment. We have two nurse practitioners, a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and a medical director and director is a medical doctor. So we provide full range of services. We treat anything from acute disorders to chronic disorders. We provide women's treatment, and we provide prevention as well. We do STI testing, we do STI treatment. We also, and for those testing that we can't do for right now, we don't currently provide HIV testing through our clinic, but we do have an outside vendor that we work with that is here every other Thursday to provide that testing. We have a very small pharmacy that is covered, again, under the student health plan, that dispenses basic pharmaceutical needs. So antibiotics, flu treatments, sterile creams, just basic non-narcotics. We prescribe and dispense right out of our own pharmacy. For those items that we don't cover within our pharmacy, we provide students with discount pharmaceutical codes so that they can go and receive a discount through local pharmacies. We have also added a collaboration with VaxPro. So we are providing vaccinations, COVID vaccinations, flu vaccinations for all students who choose to participate in that. VaxPro was here on 4 different occasions in the fall, and they will be here just once during the spring semester, since the spring semester tends not to be a COVID flu semester, viral semester. But we'll continue with that collaboration as well. On the mental health side, we provide individual counseling, intake sessions, crisis counseling. We have a 24-hour crisis on-call line. We also provide group counseling, and I'm going to, by the end of my presentation, I will upload the flyers for all of our groups. I think right now we have 5 or 6 groups. We have a college adjustment group. We have a relationship battle of the sexes group. We have a men's group, a women's group. We have a grief group. We have an LGBTQIA group that I will not post a flyer for. Our students work with another student organization. We like to keep that group private. And we work with another organization on campus to promote that group privately. We also have, there's one more group I'm missing, grief. But I'll post all of the flyers. So we have group therapy, individual therapy, crisis response therapy. Right now we have 3 licensed counselors, not including myself. I do also counsel part-time because there is a need. We'll be hiring 1 more counselor. We're going through the interview process right now, and a crisis prevention specialist. Those positions will be filled this spring, and we'll have them available and ready for the students in the fall. Um, I do want to speak to the emotional support animals. Um, Different protocols will be added on our website as we in writing as we update our website. And again, our website again is currently under construction. Our protocol for ESAs, for our counselors writing ESAs, are to for a student to be under treatment with the counselor for 6 months or a semester, for a semester. And when I mean treatment, consistent treatment, we like to see that there is already a clinical relationship developed. There are plenty schools that do not write, their counselors do not write ESAs at all for the students. But right now we do write, we currently write them. However, your student cannot come book an appointment and by the second session, get an ESA written. That is not our protocol, and that will be added in writing to our website once we uh, complete the construction of our website. Um, what am I forgetting? Um, Again, we want to promote the use of the student portal. Okay, the student portal is where students can web book. Right now, counselors are booked up 2 weeks out, but we will see students if they are in crisis. We have a crisis call that is 24/7. So we have three mental health officers that are contracted to handle our after hour and weekend crisis calls, and our 8 to 5 Monday through Friday crisis calls are on rotation with our licensed counselors. So if there is a crisis, we will respond to that crisis 24 hours. Um, I believe that is all that I have for you all. Like I said, we are growing. We are adding a lot of services to assist with the overall well-being of our students. Oh, one more thing. We're in collaboration with the nutrition department, with the dietetics department. To refer for wellness. The program is called Campus Thrive Wellness Program, and both the medical and the mental health side of the clinic refer clients or students to the program if we feel that there is a need for additional coaching. This is like a wellness coaching program. So if they're deficient in nutrition or in sleep or in certain behaviors that is affecting either their medical or their mental health um, responses or behaviors, we refer to this coaching program, and they work with one of the coaches there, Dr. Rona Miller-Siebert, to assist with their overall well-being. So I believe that's all I have for you guys. I will put the rest of our group flyers in the chat. Please download the flyer for our health and counseling um, for the health and counseling QR codes. Do you all take walk-ins for medical? So walk-ins, we are changing a couple of things. So walk-ins are every Monday, every Monday. So as the university grows and is growing, our staff has kind of remained the same. So we have two full-time nurse practitioners who are here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Our medical director is, who's our only MD right now, is here probably a total of 8 hours during the week. And we will be hiring a new part-time nurse practitioner who will be here 3 half days. So right now, two full-time nurse practitioners. Those are our two providers. So they see anywhere from 24 to 30 students per day per provider. So with that being said, we can see about up to 60 students a day in the health clinic on the medical side, a little bit more than that depending on what the student is coming in for. Certain services our medical assistants can treat and can see without a provider having to oversee or sign off on them. But when a provider has to see, we're limited to at most around 60 students per day. So with that being said, we allocate Monday to walk-ins and we schedule our um, appointments from Tuesday to Thursday. But as of last week, we have changed the operations of our walking. We are now only scheduling one provider every day, and we will leave that other provider open for walk-ins. We're going to see how that will work out so that we can see and capture more of the walk-ins. What I would say is for those who walk in and aren't able to be seen on the same day, we normally get them in within 2 to 3 days. They're not waiting weeks out as you would your primary care physician or your primary care physician. So we are not an urgent care. We're not an urgent care at all. We are more like a family doctor, like your primary care physician. So the same way you would schedule with your primary care physician, you may be booked out a week or two. We tend to schedule our students who come in. And so again, I can say with pride that very, very, very rare on the medical side if someone walks in that they are not seen within, 2 to 3 days.
That was a good question. Thank you, Ms. Haywood. Are there any other last questions for Ms. Baker? You can be putting those in the chat.
And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to upload these flyers.
Let's see. I'm not seeing anyone else with a question. So I'll let you put those flyers in the chat, Ms.
Okay.
Baker. And I'll give everyone a few reminders if there's no more questions. So I just want to remind you guys the next BPU call is at the end of March, on March 23rd. It'll be called Spring Ahead. So it'll be a session focused on steps for registration for the summer and the upcoming fall semester. We'll have some folks talking about academic support, the various learning resources we have on campus. So most likely it'll be Freshman Academy, Career Development Services, and most likely financial aid. So if you're interested in any of those departments or that topic, just be watching the parent portal. Also, I'll try to remember to make sure that the link gets to your inbox as well too. I'm trying to think anything else. And also, again, just be watching our YouTube channel for the recordings. If you can't make the meeting, you can subscribe, click the notification bell. So maybe we'll see you on YouTube too. I see Ms. Baker has her
I
flyers
have
up.
one more I need to add.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to try and download them myself.
Please do. I actually sent them to you in email.
Oh, I did get these. Okay, they look
Yeah.
familiar. I thought these were new. Yeah, I
And we
have all
have
these.
one, we do have one more. The B Men is not up there, and that's because I did not get that final flyer. But the B Men is the all male therapy group. And so there is one, but I'll send that to you once I get it. And if you want to send it to your email list, you can do that.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, I think that wraps up the call. So thank you all for attending. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you, Ms. Baker, for letting our parents know about all the good work you do and how we're servicing the students on campus. So thank you all for coming tonight. And again, we'll see you guys next month. So you guys enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Bye bye.